Hey YouTube, welcome to the Subprime to Prime YouTube channel. Here, our focus is to get you from subprime to prime. And that all starts with knowing where we want to go on our financial journey. This channel is for information and educational purposes only, and it is not intended to be financial or legal advice. Okay, let's get into it. So, for this video, we're going to discuss a credit report, what it is and what it contains. So, let's start by just defining what is a credit report. And basically, it's a detailed record of an individual's credit history, and it's compiled by credit bureaus and used by lenders, creditors, and other entities to assess a person's credit worthiness. Now, credit reports play a crucial role in determining whether someone qualifies for a loan, a credit card, or any other financial product for that matter. And they also influence interest rates and the terms that are offered for those products. And at the outset on the credit report, the first thing that we want to talk about is the personal information. So your name, social security number, your date of birth, your current and previous addresses, and your employment history. Now, just so we're clear, there are three major bureaus that we need to be discussing here, and that is TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Three totally different bureaus that oftentimes have three totally different sets of information on you. So, for example, let's start off with the name. That's one of the most common errors people find on their credit report. So, your name, as it is, you may have a first name, a middle name, and a last name, or you might have a first name, no middle name, and a last name, and they may have variations. And sometimes on the credit report, there's accidentally an initial put in there that doesn't belong to you. So, when you're looking at your credit report, you want to make sure the name that's on your driver's license is the name that's on your credit report, because they will be the closest thing linking you to who you are. So if your name is Robert J. Williams, and you have one credit report that says Robert James Williams, and then the other one that says Robert Williams, and you want those to be congruent. If you do want your middle initial, you have to make that so with each credit bureau. And usually they redact the social security number, only showing the last four. So it's not really, a full-on social security. Sometimes it has happened, and you want to make sure your date of birth is correct. And with addresses, you'll want to remove any old addresses. That's going to help you with removing old derogatories that are associated with old addresses. So you want to make sure your most current address is the only address showing on your credit report, if at all possible. And then your employment history. That, it's not as important, but lenders do look at it to see, hey, where do you work? And are you able to meet the obligations for whatever financing that you've acquired? So that's another thing that we want to take a look at in the personal information. Next, we're going to talk about the credit accounts. This is going to be a list of current and past credit accounts, credit cards, mortgages, loans, auto loans, things like that, and their balances and their limits, and the payment history of each of those accounts. So you want to make sure you go through your credit report with a fine-tooth comb to see what they have listed as derogatories. And as I stated before, each credit bureau may have different information on them in regards to this. So you'll want to go through and really, really hone in on things that may be incorrect or inaccurate, because by law, that credit report has to be accurate. And then public records. If you have any bankruptcies, judgments, tax liens, things like that, those will be on there as well. And you'll want to do your very best to see if everything matches. And At some point, we will discuss how to, maneuver into credit repair, but for right now, we're just talking about the basics and whether it is or isn't on the report. And the next section is going to be inquiries. Inquiries is a record of who's requested the credit report, and basically taking the time to look into your credit to see if they want to extend you credit. And you have the soft inquiry and you have a hard inquiry. Soft inquiry is when you check your own credit, or someone doesn't do a hard pull, which would require your social security number and your permission to do so, to find out if you're credit worthy for whatever product that they're saying that you applied for. And the hard inquiry does stay on your report for 2 years. However, the effects of it starts waning after 6 months. So the whole point is to not go out and get a bunch of them at one time or in close proximity to each other. You'll want to only apply for credit when it's absolutely necessary, so that your plate stays clean for any opportunities that may come across, and you won't have a bunch of inquiries just lying around on your credit report. Okay, the next section is collections, if you have them. I don't typically do the credit advice. However, if you do have collections on your report, you're going to want to take care of those immediately. Collections mean that you were late at some point and you didn't pay when you were supposed to, and so they are now trying to collect that debt, and those typically get sold multiple times. And on certain occasions, they will put that same debt on your report listed in different names. So you're going to want to be really careful about taking care of a collection on your report. And then lastly, your score. Most credit reports, unless you purchase it, typically may not contain your credit score. And then your credit score, the three bureaus have their own version of it based on what each of them report on the credit profile. So you can actually buy those, or there are quite a few sites that you may be able to pay a small fee up front so that you can get all three of them from each bureau. And I'll leave that to you to check that out. But just in today's video, for the sake of time, we just wanted to explain what your credit report's made of and how you can do things to make the credit profile look a lot better. So again, going back to previous videos, you're going to always want to pay your bills on time. You're going to want to reduce debt whenever possible. You're going to want to make sure that everything is 100% accurate on this credit report, because that's going to determine everything else going forward.